last Friday's topic evolved into this topic. So we'll talk about evolution. How many of us believe in this theory, evolution of man? So some schools have banned Darwin theory. Okay, she heard, rather Jiminy heard, some schools have banned it. So when she studied, she is forced to study the Darwin theory. But she feels some kids are fortunate that they don't have to study it. So what made the difference?
Science believes in fact, like these are the
Science
facts.
thinks that this is a fact. So
Right.
that's what we want to hear today. So that's what your baggage is. You think science is believing it. What is science? Science is people. It's just not few people. Science means all the intelligent people, mostly gyanis. They want to solve the problems of the life. So this is called science. So we want to hear both sides of these gyanis. Darwin theory is just one side of the coin. So we want to see the other side of the coin. So anyone has any other ideas of Darwin?
So
Right.
now our monkeys now still evolving to man.
Mm.
Right? They are not. We don't
Common
see.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay, he defeated using common sense. Thank you. Okay, so her question is, if this is true, so how the man is going to evolve? We are not seeing any new things coming out of man. Valid question, common sense. So Sham, Super Sham, any question from you? How do you want to be? What do you, he want to be Super Sham, so he should evolve into Superman by the time he grow. If Darwin is correct, like, how do you want the Super Sham to be when you grow up? You want to fly like the Superman? How big you want to be? How tall you want to be?
Big like big 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 like a Superman.
Oh, you want to be super big, right? Super tall. Yes. Yes. So this is what Darwin theory says. If you want to, by force or by nature, you want to, you want to get something naturally, you evolve. Just like when the deers are grazing on the earth, so there is no grass. So to in order to survival of the fittest, they have to evolve like giraffe. We will see. Similarly, man also has so many desires. He would like to, like some dark skinned people, they want to become fair. So naturally they should evolve into fair. Or some short men want to become tall. They should be evolving. At least simple evolution. So that is what Darwin theory says, but we are not seeing that happening based on the teachings of Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. First question is, if Darwin theory is true, he is saying that our grandfathers are like this.
Kind of you can treat this as a joke or treat this as a sage. But a small girl, a small kid, she asked to her father that how did we
You
evolve?
can bring it center also.
uh, the dad replied that earlier we were monkey and then we improved and now we are man. Then she went to her mama. Then her mama said, no, first Adam and Eve came on this earth and then we all are here. Then she said, father said something else. She said he talked about his family and I'm talking about my family. So, so there is.
Very interesting. So the father's family is coming from monkeys, huh? Don't see that this evolution is going on, and if that is true, why is this lower species still existing? Hmm? So like this in this presentation, you see, we don't see this personality. Not only this personality anywhere, nothing in between. So we can see this personality is skull everywhere, all around. If you go to Tampa, that park, you can see a lot of hips, and you can see the man watching the apes, but there is no way we can see between these two. After people accepted his theory, And there are other intelligent scientists which they never accepted this. They keep finding so many faults. So they call, where is the missing link? Not only in human race, he explains all the other race. Like for example, the whale came from bear. The bear had a desire to eat fish, started getting in the ocean, and slowly it evolved into whale. Hmm? There's so many funny stories. So you don't see the missing link anywhere. So one person called Joberman, he what he did, he found in his search, he found a large skull and the spine and the bones 40 feet apart. In his excavation, he put them together, and he made this ape man. He called it Lucy, the name of the ape man. It was in the museum too for many years. So later they found they're two different sets of bones. They're not from one personality, although they are 40 feet apart. So one, the skull is from huh? Right, right. So so they removed it from the museum, and so that's the only missing link which Darwin ever had from this scientist. Also, there is file jaw. So to prove his theory, he they later discovered that Darwin he filed a jaw of a ape to look like a ape man. Okay, file the jaw, the jawbone. Yeah, yeah. Mm. So now look this interesting course. There is no evidence which would show man developing step by step from lower forms of life. There is no such things as missing links. It's a famous biologist. It's a hypothesis. Hmm? He said the right thing, right? In his famous book called Unfinished Animal. The main purpose of Darwinism was to drive away every last trace of an incredible God from biology. So, so let's look at himself. Huh? Look at his. I think he looked at himself in the mirror and he figured out I have some features and started speculating this speculating this theory. But look at some truths from himself. He himself declares that he is a firm believer of speculation. He says, without speculation, there is no good and original observation. Anumana Praman, what we say in Puranas. Shabda, Shabda Praman is highest, hearing from authority. Pratyaksha is direct perception. And Anuman is mental speculation. So he strongly believes in mental speculation. So ascending knowledge, first of all, scientific knowledge means ascending, they are evolving. So, but the higher knowledge is descending. Aroha Panta, Avaroha Panta. So, in descending knowledge, you get the knowledge and then you can do pratyaksha also. You can observe, you can perceive the truth, first by hearing from authority. It says, very hypothetical. So he himself says he cannot prove that even one species has changed. It's all speculation. So now look at this amazing beetle. Yeah. How amazing is this one beetle? Its defense system is between the tear gas and the atomic gun. It generates sometimes when it try to defend himself 100 degrees. So this is how it works. It has two chambers, enzymes and hydroperoxide. They combine together, make an explosion. So if you ask this, apply a Darwin theory to this species, how does it prevent its own destructive system from exploding himself? It's a tiny thing. Such a high degree it generates because it has an inhibitor. which prevents the chemical reactions to take place. The second question comes, if it has, then how does it generate? If it has inhibitors to store these two chemicals separate, it has anti-inhibitor also. Hmm? When it wants to defend, it just add this anti-inhibitor and explodes. Hmm? So it doesn't have, see, this is a big, so how does it evolve? How all these things evolve at the same time? It looks like a big design, isn't it? If either first one evolves first, and then without, there is no use to have an inhibitor and not have an inhibitor and then have an exhaust, right? Right. Yes. Yeah, so like human eye, if it is, if it evolves, Darwin failed to explain how the human eye can evolve. He says, you know I go crazy, I can't sleep. I, he can, yeah, he agreed that he can't explain how a human eye can evolve, because one part, without the whole putting together, there is no use of one part without the other, and there is no way that each one, how it evolves. So look at, like, for example, take one simple example of like a squirrel, right? So it is starving, let's say. Now it suddenly saw buzz, a fly, right? Now it wants to catch the fly. Now it's supposed to evolve wings, right? It has to bite to catch the food. So it is the first step in the evolution process, right? But unfortunately, if it falls down, right? Mm. The idea that that a arm could evolve into wing is absurd. This is giraffe, famous example. We all have experience, right? If you move the head up and down, we cause dizziness. Correct? You just go round and round, and so it has 2.5 meters long neck. Hmm? It can move up and down very fast. But how is it surviving? Because it has special valves in the neck, which will pump blood to the brain so quickly, and it also has elastic blood vessels in the head. Hmm? Okay. So if evolution is true, then how this together? Evolution explains that it happens through many mutations. We will look into that probability of what is a mutation, um, uh, how true. I mean, what chances are there that the mutation, through mutation, one can evolve? Like, see, as soon as you see two things coming for a purpose, you have to accept there's a designer, right? How would anyone explain by mutation both evolved at the same time? It can graze up in the trees and it also can drink water. Hmm? So if that one of these walls are not there, it would crazy. Mhm. It's a purely a product of imagination. Now let's look at the simple cell. Right, in 1979 they said extremely simple cell structure. And then they did more research in between 80s and 90s. And 96 they concluded it's not simple as we think. Okay. Mm. Look at this one simple cell. Could be a cancer cell, it could be any cell. Okay. And if you look deep enough, this is how it works. It has regulation system, it has transport system. Oh, there are more, huh? Yeah. Okay, as we advance, how complex is this cell? Right. So once they thought it's just a simple bag of chemicals, it's now understood to be an elaborate system of molecular machinery that surpasses a modern city in complexity. So it's far beyond complex than New York subway system in each cell. How complex the interactions go on, right? But how many cells we have? We have 100 trillion cells in human body. So each cell is so complex. Irreducibly complexity. If, for example, means he says a single system composed of several well-matched interacting parts that contribute to a basic function, wherein the removal of one of the parts causes the system to effectively cease functioning. We got it right? If, for example, a watch may have many parts, but if you talk about one part in the watch, and that one part to work, it combines many other parts. So to like a watch has basic function, a date function, and it has to move different, right? So the point is, you can think. So the cell, it without one part, the whole thing. For example, now we'll see. Now we'll understand it better, right? Like this is how the cell is. So it has these bearings, it has this tail. We have a graphics in the next slide. We'll understand better. This is how it moves. So how can you can't imagine that, okay, there is no need of this part or this part. They are working together in each cell. How complex it is. If it could be demonstrated that any complex organ existed which could not possibly have been formed by numerous successive slight modification, my theory would absolutely break down. He himself. So after Darwin theory was accepted, now if they could have researched the cell before Darwin theory was accepted, so he himself is saying. So this, what we just saw was this, a cell itself is a complex organ. He's saying everything is formed by numerous successive and slight modifications. That is called mutation. You see? But how did the cell exist? And Nobel Prize winner, he says that the good mutations are rare. So we can consider them all bad. Mutations happen naturally, but through that mutation, you see the good results are not coming. So it's like saying to improve a living organism by random mutation is like saying that you could improve a switch watch by dropping it and bending one of its wheels or axis. Right? If that is true, now we are trying our best to do all this breeding and everything, right? But there is a limitation. How could one cell, let's say, it evolved into by mutation to other and other? So scientists with great research, we are not able to do even the breeding. There is a limit for it. Order and complexity, right? They can go steady. But as per Darwin, as time progresses, the complexity and order are going together. In the same science, two theories don't match each other. Kelvin. Fairy tale. So this evolved into intelligent design now. Anyway, this is one of the fairy tale. So let's look at the other side. Mamayavamsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you are my amsas. You're eternal. So, and he says, first of all, before we try to explain man, one has to know what. Now, all these theories coming about because uh, they're trying to understand what is man. But are we just matter, as these scientists are trying to speculate? Are we just combination of matter, or do you have something higher? We have a mind element, right? Of course, the science, the Western philosophy just talk about mind. We go into more detail. Mana, buddhi, hankar. So all these three together they call mind, right? So it's proven scientifically also that the mind has power to change matter. Scientifically proven, the mind has power to change. For example, one professor in Princeton University, he there is a random machine which generates a random number, like ones and zeros. It creates a random number. If no one is there, it probably give 50% zeros and 50% ones and different combination. So they did an experiment. The scientists sat near the machine and they just decide in the mind that how many zeros they want. So they repeat this experiment just by desiring in the mind. The machine also it can give you the result that you wanted. So the subtle element mind has effect on the gross too. So the no science can explain the subtle element mind. So they're trying to explain how the life has evolved from chemicals. Sarva yonishu kaunteya muttatya sambhavantiya. Maya adhyakshana prakriti. On my adhyaksha, on my control, this material nature is working. And all the chara acharam, the moving and non-moving entities are controlled by me. And the jagat, this world is working in my control, Krishna says. Right, we all know this. This is how the evolution happened. In Brahma Vaivarta Purana, it's explained that one attains a human form of life after transmigrating through 84 lakh species of life. Padma Purana explains. In fact, Prabhupada said that Darwin actually, he because he's a great atheist, there's chances that he looked at this and he made this theory that the body evolved. Somehow this theory of evolution and the theory of evolution of consciousness is given in the Padma Purana, how there are 9 lakhs. Navalakshana means 9 lakhs of living entities which live in the water. And then the Stavara, like this, it says Chatur Lakshani Manusha. There are 4 lakh species of human beings. So this is finally. So how is evolution happening? Spiritual, depending on our combination, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Like different permutation and combination of these 3 modes can give us any of these 84 lakh species, one of the body from these 84 lakh species. This is how we evolve spiritually. Very clearly explained. So this is how the whole meditation, everything, all the Bhakti yoga, any yoga system is trying to help us, help our mind to attain a spiritual state. So when we quit this present body, we attain a spiritual state. So we know this example, right? Bharat Maharaj, he was a great king. He was a king of the entire Bharatvarsha. He went to the forest to meditate. Then he saw a lion killing a mother deer, and then the baby deer was alone. So he was taking care of the baby deer, and he got too attached to it. So in his meditation, he was thinking about, oh, what happens to this small baby? Maybe it's in danger. So in this process, when he died, he became a deer next life. Then he still remembers because the same minds goes on that, because he was a great yogi. He still remembers. Just like many people are remembering now. Ian Stevenson, he has many cases, several thousands. Out of that, 600 more than cases, he had proofs that he could meet those people that these kids remember. He has each case he will consider to be true, unless he won't consider it to be true unless he see like at least 100 or so evidences from each case. So like that he remembered, and then next life he became Jad Bharat. He continued from where he stopped, and he could go back. In the third life he was so strict that he doesn't want to associate with anyone. He used to decorate his body with so nasty that no one comes near him. He acted dumb and deaf. So I just quickly rushed it because some of them we're not scientists. It's not relevant. So we can get more time to discuss and relevant topics. This is the basic idea. Right? They say everywhere there is an assumption in the scientific world. You may say, oh, then why then it's not coming? Because there is something called knowledge filtration in the scientific world. If the textbooks are printed based on certain assumptions, if someone gets a proof which is completely contradicting, they will simply reject it, and you lose your career. If you oppose, you're gone. Politics is not just an Indian political system or a US; it's there everywhere. In the scientific world, it's much more. Like we have a another scientist, Druta Karma Prabhu. He may come to Tampa soon. Oh, Mataji is in touch with him. He's recognized very great scientist. He's a devotee too. He is he and Druta Karma Prabhu and Sadaputa Prabhu, they published forbidden archaeology of how this knowledge filtration is so many according to Darwin, the man evolved just 440,000 years back. But there are proofs that they have human skulls. Like they found a gold, they were digging gold mines in America. They found bones which are 40 million years back. So it's contradicting. Like this, there are many proofs that they have given. They call human devolution, and in response to that book, he has published another book called Human Devolution. It's not evolution, because we are first spiritual beings, okay, and then just like the mind element is higher, we all can understand. No science can explain the mind element. Similarly, this cosmos, there is a higher cosmos where it's controlled by spiritual. So now we devolved from this spiritual element to material. Now that's why we have a chance to evolve back to spiritual. Okay. Spiritual evolution is, we can see also when in this body, how when we were a small child, we are only thinking about food. Annamaya, it's called Annamaya. We're only conscious about food. Small little child. And then when we grow a little bigger, within few months, they are also conscious about their life. They're worried about, if they get hurt, or they want to protect themselves. It's called Pranamaya. They also try to protect their brother and sisters, right? So if there are two brothers, they fight when external person comes. So it's like Pranamaya. So they evolved. When you're too young, you just focus on milk, and that's it. Mom and milk. When you grow up, you are evolving. Consciousness is evolving to pranamaya, protecting life. That's all they know. Hmm? And then when you go a little bigger, manomaya, then you are in the mind. You can think also. Start thinking. They plan. Oh, I want to go play. I want to do this. I want. They start speaking. Mm. And then, of course, obviously, after that is when we start using intelligence. It's called jnanamaya. And there are many different vijnanamaya. You can call savijnanamaya also. So in jnanamaya platform, you start using your intelligence now. Again, this evolution is there. They can stay in Annamaya platform, right? In Annamaya platform also we are there, but when you evolve, then you just don't worry about feeding yourself. When you evolve, you also start worrying about feeding your family, feeding the society, feeding the nation. How do you are very conscious now. Oh, if I eat certain animals, then I'm destroying the law of nature. So this is better. Pranamaya. Now, earlier we were only conscious about our life, then we start evolving into, let me be conscious about my family and my society and every living entity in the society, in the creation. Manomaya, mental platform, also same thing. So there are different degrees in this evolution also. Vijnanamaya is you evolve, you use your intelligence. And then final evolution is called, anyone knows? Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Jnanamaya is intelligence. Intelligence, again, we use the intelligence not just for eating and sleeping like the animals. We also try to use the intelligence to, how do I solve the problems of life? They are called Gyanis. They use their intelligence in solving they try to fix the bugs, not the root causes. And someone use their intelligence to get mystic powers. They are called yogis. And someone uses their intelligence to serve the Lord. They are devotees. So the devotees can evolve to the final stage in evolution of consciousness, which is Anandamaya. You're simply blissful in that stage. You're not disturbed. You're liberated. You're not in control of matter anymore, because you're in constant touch with the Lord in your thoughts, in your actions, in your mind, and with your intelligence and with your heart and soul. We are in constant touch with the Lord and His energies. Then we can go to this Anandamaya. There is no way for a Jnanis or a Yogis to go to this level. So thank you for being patient. I want to make it short. Every Friday we go like 1.5 hours. Everyone talks. Today I want to just keep it short, and while having prasadam we can happily associate with each other, groups. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't confuse you more. Any questions specific to this?
We know that Darwin's theory has so many flaws. But still, why was it so famous?
Because atheists took shelter of it. See, this is the only alternative for saying there is no God. See, the science say, if you believe that, see, they can assume that everything came by chance, but they can't assume that somebody made it. As soon as you assume that you're not a scientist, you have to go out of the society. So they have to survive. Let's say they make a law into software engineers to survive. We will accept that law because we want money to maintain our families. Why would I play with my life? So although this so many people accept, but no one really believes in it. Bodies never evolve. All the species eternally exist. because of the three modes of nature, the combination of the three modes, we develop so many desires. So the Lord is so kind to satisfy all our desires. Brahma, he has nicely engineered so that every bit of our desire can be satisfied. He's giving us all chances for us to satisfy and frustrate, understand the truth. So all the living entities were created by Brahma, and the soul is put into these living entities based on our particular desire. So we know that monkeys and Rama, they existed together. If